Hello everyone, welcome back to ADV Learning. Today in this video we are going to build a restaurant billing system by using a C programming language. So in this video we are going to cover a topic like file system and structures in C. So let me give you a quick demo of today what we are going to build. So here, as in the dashboard, we can see here we have four options. The first one is to generate the invoice. Now if I choose option 1, then I have to enter the name of the customer first. Let me say it's Mr. John. Then I have to enter the number of items. Let me say it's 2. Now let me enter the first item, that is pizza, and unit price be 250, and the quantity, let me say it's 3. Now the another item, let me enter it as burger and give the unit price of 150, and let me say the quantity is of 5. Now as you can see, it has generated a bill here. As you can see, here is a date and invoice to the customer name, and we can see here the items, the pizza, burger, and the quantities and total is shown. Also we have also included here a discount and a CGST and SCST. Now at the end you can see here the option to save the invoice. Now if I hit Y, then it says here successfully saved. Now let me perform another operation here and let me check all the invoices. So let me give the option 2, and you can see the invoice has been shown. Now again let me continue the operation and generate another invoice. Let me say the name of the customer is Mr. Ram, and let me say one item, let's say Momo, 105. So our invoice has been generated. Let me save this and perform another operation. Now if I again hit the option 2, you can see now it has shown the 2 bill of Mr. John and Mr. Ram. Now if I choose the option 3, that is the sorts the invoice of a particular customer. Now let me enter the name Mr. Ram, and you can see it has printed the invoice of Mr. Ram only. Now if I choose the option 4, then the program has been terminated. So we are going to build this today in C programming language. I am going to use Visual Studio Code for this project. If you want to follow along, then you can go ahead to code.visualstudio.com/download, and you can download the Visual Studio Code for your machine. Also you need to set up the compiler for compiling the C file. So simply go ahead to docs and choose the C++ here, and depending on your machine you can follow the docs here to set up the GCC compiler on your machine. Now here I have already written certain code for generating the bill. So I have written the 3 functions here. The first function is to generate the bill header. It will take the 2 arguments, the name and the date, and here I am printing the date here and the name of the customer, and the remaining code is used to print the titles of the bill, that is the items, the quantity and the total. Then for the bill body, I have written a function, a generate bill body. It will take the 3 arguments, the item, quantity and the price. So the bill body will contains the different items, their quantities and their unit price. So I am printing here the item, the quantity and the quantity into price, that is the total price of that item. And here the generate bill footer is taking only one argument, that is total, for showing up the total of the invoice. And I have here defined 3 variables, that is discount, that is used for calculating the discount of the total. So I am using the 10% as a discount, so it is simply calculating the discount by multiplying the 0.1, that is the 10%, by 100 into the total amount of the bill, and this net total is the price after deducting the discount from the total. And here the CGST, that is I am taking it 9%, so it is going to apply in this net total amount. So the CGST will be 0.09 into net total, and the grand total will be net total plus 2 times the CGST. So I am using the 2 times CGST here because I am taking the GST, STST also on 9%. So instead of defining a separate variable for SCST, I am using the same CGST variable for the SCST variable also. So the grand total will be equals to net total plus 2 times the CGST, that is it is equals to the net total plus CGST and plus SGST. Here the CGST and SGST is the same amount because I have taken the 9% for both CGST and SGST. So I am simply multiplying the CGST by 2 times and adding it to the net total. So and these are showing the subtotal and discount, the net total, the CGST and SGST here. So now let me begin by writing the main code. So let me first print the dashboard to the user. So you can simply use printf, and in the dashboard, first of all, I will be writing the name of the restaurant. So let me give some horizontal tab and give some this decorations here and give the name of the restaurant. Let me go ahead and copy this and paste this here. So the next line will be showing the options for the user to perform. The first option will be to generate the invoice. The second option will be to show all invoices. The third option is to source the invoice, and the fourth option is to exit from the program. This should be at the bottom. Okay, so yeah, now let me save this and recompile this. Yes, now it is showing me, right? So let me give one more new line here because it is showing a little bit of congested, and let me print certain new lines so that this message will be down to 2 lines. Okay, so now let me run this. Yes, now let me give the message to the user to take the options. So please select your preferred operation and give me certain horizontal tab here. Now to store this option variable, let me define one variable that will be int opt. So it represents the option here, and I can simply scan this variable. So scanf %d and %opt. Okay, and let me print the what the user has chosen. So you have chosen %d and it will be opt. Now let me run this. Okay, if I give the option 1, so it is showing you have chosen 1. Okay, so it is working. Now let me remove this, we don't need this anymore. Now so what we are going to do is we are going to use the switch case statement to switch around this option. Okay, so the user can choose either the option 1, option 2, option 3 or option 4. So what we are going to do is we will use switch statement. So switch, we are going to switch the variable opt. So opt, and it will have the different cases. Okay, so if the case is 1, yes, so for the case 1, that is if the user choose to generate the invoice. Okay, so when the user choose to generate the invoice, we have to show the certain message here. So printf, first we need to ask the user how many number of items they want, but ahead of that we need to ask the name of the customer. Okay, so /n, please enter the name of the customer slash t. Now to store this variable, let me first define the structures here. Okay, so if you don't know what's the structure is, so structures are simply a user defined data type. So it contains the multiple data types. Okay, so you can simply define the structure here by using the struct keyword. So struct, the first structure will be of the items, and you need to add a semicolon at the end of this. So the first variable inside the structure will be the name of the item. So it is the character, so char item. Let me give the maximum size of 20. The second variable will be of type float, that will be the price of the item, and the third will be the quantity of that item. The another structure will be for the orders, so it will contain the name of the customer. So let me give it the name as customer. So let me give the maximum size as 50. Then another will be the date of the invoice, so it will I am giving the name date, and another will be the number of items inside that order, so it can be 1, 2, 3 and more. And the fourth one will be the structure itself, the structure this that we have defined the items here. Okay, so you can simply use this by using struct items and give the name of this item structure. Okay, let me give it to itm. So, and this order can contain multiple items, so I am defining an array here, so it will be the array of the structures, so item, and I am giving the maximum size of 50. Now, so here, okay, let me see what's the problem is. Expected the semicolon, let me see where I have, okay, so I have missed the semicolon here. Now it is removing the problem. Okay, now so I have print the message to enter the name of the customer. So now I have to take the input the name of the customer. Okay, so we are going to use the fgetAs for taking the name of the customer, but the problem of using fgetAs is that if we use mixture of scanf as well as fgetAs, then the fgetAs will not work, because the scanf will use the /n. Okay, so it will leave the /n at the end of the input, so this will be consumed by this fgetAs and it will not work. So for this to work, we, after using a scanf, we simply have to use fgetC and std and the standard input to consume that /n. Okay, so now we can simply use fgetAs, and the first one will be the variable where we are going to store this string. Okay, so the variable in which we are going to store this is in the customer. Okay, so it is the customer that is inside the order structure. Okay, so we have to first define the structure here. Okay, so use simply struct orders, and let me give it as ord. Now we are going to store the string inside the customer, which is inside the structure. Okay, so we can simply use dot notation, so we can use ord dot customer. So this will store the name inside the customer variable that is inside the order, and the second argument will be the maximum size, and the third argument will be the standard input, that is stdi. Now the another problem with fgetAs is that it is also attaching the /n at the end of the string. Okay, so we have to simply remove that. So we can remove it by simply using or.customer strlen dot customer -1 will be equals to 0. Okay, so what this line is doing is, so the strlen function will give the actual length of the string, so, and the -1 will be if the length of the string is 10, then it is simply deducting 1, so we will get the 9, and that is the at the end position of the string. Okay, so at the end position we are assigning 0. Okay, otherwise what will happen is in the customer variable, let me say I have given name Ram. Okay, so it will save Ram as well as the new line also, okay, slash n also. So this will not be working as expected, so we have to do this also. Okay, so we have taken the name of the customer here. Now before taking the second option, so what we can do is can store the date in this date variable. Okay, so we can simply use strcpy. Okay, so this is the standard string function to copy the string from one variable to the another variable. So the first argument it will take is the destination, and the second argument it will take is the source. Okay, so the destination is order dot date. Okay, so we are going to store the date variable in this ord.date, and comma we are assigning as the current date of the that invoice. Okay, so we can simply get it by using this date statement. So this will get the current date and store it to the ord.date. Now okay, so let me check this first working or not. Yes, okay, so generate invoice. So please enter the name of the customer. Let me say it's Mr. Ram. Okay, now it has taken the input also. Okay, so next input will be the to ask the number of the item. Okay, so printf /n, please enter the number of items, and we are going to scan this and store it in the variable n. So we have to declare this variable n. So yeah, in here I am simply declaring it n, so it will take the input as n, that is the number of the items. Now the next step will be to get the serially the name of the items. Okay, so we have to use the for loop because we are going to take the input for n items. Okay, so simply use for int I equals to 0, I less than n, and I plus plus. So first input will be the name of the item. Okay, so again we are taking the string as the input, so we have to use this f gets c stdin because we have again used scanf here. Okay, and the next step is to let me print the new line here. So the message will be printf is enter the item %d, that will be +1. Okay, so please enter the item I +1, that is the I is starting from 0, but I want to show to the user that please enter the item 1, 2 and 3, but not the item 0, 1 and 2. So I am simply incrementing the I by I +1. Okay, now f get s. So the first is the variable where we are going to store this name. Okay, so it is simply inside ord dot item I dot item. Okay, so it is simply inside the structure ord. Okay, that is this structure inside this item, and it's the first item. Okay, so item I, and the maximum size will let me see, I have given the 50 here, so 20 it is the length of the item. I have given here the 20 here, so I am using 20. Third argument will be a standard input, that is std. Okay, now again we have to use ord dot item I dot item and str length. So let me simply copy this, it is the same here, Ctrl C Ctrl V, -1 will be equals to 0, right? Then so we have taken the input for the name of the item. Now let me take the input for the quantity of the item. Okay, so please enter the quantity and give the horizontal tab, and I am going to scan this and place it inside ord dot item I dot. So I am taking the quantity, so qty. Okay, then printf is enter the unit price. Okay, so /t and scanf. So the price is float, so %f and ampersand. It is, I am storing inside ord dot item I dot price. Okay, and I have missed the ampersand here. Okay, so let me see if it's working or not. Option 1, so name of the customer, let me say Mr. Ram. Number, let me say it's 2. Okay, so please enter item 1, let me say pizza. Quantity, okay, 2 pizzas, unit price 250. Item 2, okay, so let me say burger 3 100. Okay, so it is working. So let me refactor something here. So here I am going to give some tab here, and I am removing this new line here. Okay, and one thing what I am going to do is instead of, let me cut this out, let me say your choice, and let me print this in the top. Okay, so yeah, Control V. Okay, now if I run this, okay, please select your preferred operation, generate invoice, name of the customer, let me say Mr. Zone. Okay, number of item, let me say 2. Okay, item 1, I see quantity, so let me see, it's BC 3. Okay, so I have forgotten the horizontal tab here also, so I have given a horizontal tab, but I think it's not taking it. Let me give the colon here. Okay, yeah, it is missing the colon. Let me run this again. Your choice 1, name of the customer, let me say Mr. Syam, number of items 3. Okay, yeah, now it is taking the tables. Okay, so let me terminate this. So what I want to do now is we have taken all the inputs here and stored it in this the order structure. So let me now show the invoice to the user. Okay, so for showing the invoice, I have already defined the 3 functions here: the generate bill header, generate bill body, and generate bill footer. Okay, so let me cut this out here and paste it in the top. Okay. Okay, so after doing this, what we want to simply do is we want to generate the bill header. Okay, so generate bill header. Okay, so the bill header is taking the 2 arguments, the name and the date. Okay, so the name is simply stored in the ord dot customer, and the date is in the ord dot date, right? And after this we have to generate the bill body. Okay, so but the bill body can contain the more than 1 item. Okay, so we have to use the for loop here. So simply use for int I equals to 0, I less than ord dot number of items and I plus plus. Okay, so I notice one thing, that we haven't stored anything in the number of items here. Let me define number, sorry, ord dot number of items will be equals to 10. Okay, so we have to now use generate bill body, and let me see, it is taking what arguments it is taking. So it is taking the item, quantity, and then price. Okay, so the item will be ord, right, dot item I dot item, and quantity will be ord dot item I dot, sorry, I dot quantity, and ord dot item I dot price. Now for the generating the bill footer, so generate bill footer, and it is taking the argument total. As you can see here, it is taking the argument total, but we haven't defined the total here. So let me define here a float total, and what I am going to do is, inside this for loop, when we are taking this name or the details of the item, so I am going to do is total plus equals to, so ord dot item I dot quantity into ord dot item I dot price. Okay, so it is multiplying the unit price with the quantity and summing up for all the items. Okay, so generate bill footer, and the total will be inside this total variable. Okay, so now let me run this. Okay, so let me generate an invoice. Name of the customer, let me say Mr. John. Name, let me give the number of items, say 2. So first item is pizza. Let me give the quantity of 2, unit price 250, and another item is burger. Let me say I want 3, and it's 150 the unit price. Okay, you can see it is generating the bill here, right? So ADB restaurant. So these are the bill header. Okay, so this part is the bill header. It contains this name of the restaurant, the date at which invoice is generated, invoice 2, that is the name of the customer, and this is the header. Okay, so table header, that is items, quantity and total. Okay, then this stuff here, it is the bill body. Okay, so pizza to quantity, and the total price will be 500. Okay, so because 2 into 250 is 500, right? And for the burger, so 3 into 150, it is 450. The subtotal 500 plus 50, 450 will be 950. Discount 10% will be this 95, and net total will be this, the subtotal minus this discount, and the CGST and SGST will be the 9% of this net total, and this will be added to this price, and we will get grand total. Okay, now we want to ask the user if he or she wants to save the bill. Okay, so for this we are going to use the file system. So for using the file system, you can simply use file and define the file pointer here, that is fp. Okay, so now let me define another character variable here. So character save bill, so let me say it's y. Okay, so we want to ask the user if he or she wants to save the bill. So printf, and do you want to save the invoice, and we are going to scan this and store it inside this, that save bill. Okay, then we want to check if save bill is equals to this y. Then if the save bill is equals to y, then what we want to do is we want to simply open that file. Okay, so you can use f open, then write the name of the file. Okay, so let me say it's restaurant bill dot dat. Okay, so we are going to use the dat extension. You can also use txt or pdf or any of the extension, and the second argument is the mode in which we are going to open the files. Okay, so I am going to open this file in the open mode. Okay, so the open mode will open the file at the data at the end of the file. Okay, so then we are going to simply use the fwrite function, okay, for writing the structure. Okay, so in fwrite, first it will contain the pointer to the structure that we are going to store. Okay, so that is in the ord. Okay, so that is in the name of the that is a pointer of the that structure. Okay, so that is ord that we want to save, and we want to give the second argument as the size of that structure. Okay, so we can simply use that size of keyword for finding the size of that structure. So struct orders, and the next argument will be the how many instance of the order that we want to save. Okay, that is 1, and then simply give the file pointer, that is fp. Okay, then what we are going to do is if fwrite is not equals to 0, that is if the writing to the file is successful, then we are to simply print successfully written or successfully saved. Okay, else what we want to do is we want to show the error message, so error saving. Okay, and we want to show this in the new line. Okay, and then at last we simply want to close the file. Okay, so we want to close the file, give it the file pointer, and that's it. We simply now want to break this case. Okay, so we are breaking the case 1. Okay, so let me test it if it is working or not. Simply compile and run this. Okay, I want to generate the invoice. The name of the customer is Mr. Ram, so I want to enter 2 items. So the first item will be pizza. Let me say I want 5 of it and the price is 250. The second item is burger. I want 10 of it and let me say unit price is 100. Okay, so it has generated the bill and it is simply asking me, do you want to save the invoice? If I hit the Y, then it is writing here error saving. Okay, so let me see what's the error here. Okay, so I have writing here not, so it will be simply if I write is not equals to 0. Okay, successful save. Okay, let me again rerun this. Okay, so generate invoice, the name of the customer Mr. Zone, no more right, let me say only 1. So let me say I want momo, enter the quantity 5 plates and the unit price is 100. Okay, so it has generated the bill. Now if you want to save the invoice, let me say Y. Now it has said successfully saved. Okay, so let me give one option here. Do you want to save the invoice? So do you want to save the invoice? Yes or no? Let me check this out how it is looking. Okay, generate invoice, let me say it's ABC. So now number of item, let me say 1. So A is 250. Okay, yes. So do you want to say no? Yes or no? Let me click no. Okay, now we have successfully completed the option 1, that is to generate the invoice. Okay, so and one thing I want to do is whenever the user choose the option 1 or any of the option, what I want to do is I want to clear this out. Okay, so I want to clear this out and simply show the options from the here. Okay, so whenever the option 1 is chosen, so we want to simply do system and we want to clear this thing out. Okay, so if I now run this and if I choose 1, as you can see that the dashboard stuff is gone. Okay, so let me stop this now. Let's move on to the second case, that is case 2. Okay, that is case 2. So the second case is to show all the invoices. Okay, so let me do the same stuff. So system, clear the dashboard out. Whenever the user chooses the option, then we want to simply open the file. So F open, give the name of the file, that is restaurant bill.dat. Okay, you can see here the bill has already been generated, that is the restaurant bill.dat here, right? So restaurant bill.dat, we want to open this bill in the read mode. Okay, so give R for the read mode and then we want to simply show the message print F in the new line. Okay, so let me give certain spaces and give some decoration here and say your invoices. Okay, say previous invoices and let me give this stuff again and I want to show it in the new line. Okay, so we have to read the file now. Okay, so we are going to use while loop until the pointer of the file is at the end of the file. Okay, so we want to use while freed for simply reading the file. We want to first give the structure. Okay, so simply for the structure, okay, let me define the another structure here. Okay, so it's struct orders. Let me give the name of structure as order. Okay, So yeah, this is where we want to store the all of the structure while after reading from the file. Okay, so then the another one will be the size of the structure. Okay, simply struct orders and give the instances. There is one and the pointer to the file, that is fp. Now while this loop is executing, what we want to do is we want to simply generate the bill. Okay, so first we want to generate the bill header, and the bill header will be giving the arguments as order dot customer and order dot date. Sorry, not comma, that's dot, order dot date, and for int I equals to 0, I less than number of items. Okay, so let me see what I have written the name for the number of items. I forgot, so it's num of items. Okay, so simply writes num of items and I plus plus. That's only not the number of items, that's order dot number of items. Okay, so we want to generate the bill body, right? So generate bill body, and the generate bill body will take the 3 arguments. First one is order dot item I dot item, the second one is order dot item I dot quantity, and the third one is order dot item I dot price. And since we are using the for loop here, we want also to calculate the total of the bill. Okay, again as we are not storing the total to the file, so we need to again recalculate the total. So we can simply do it by using total plus equals to order dot item I dot quantity multiply by order dot item I dot price. Okay, so this is generating the bill body. Now we want to generate the bill footer. Okay, and simply pass in the total, and then we want to close the file. So fclose fp, and we want to break this thing. Okay, now let me run this. Now if I choose to show all invoices, so you can see it is showing me all the invoices, right? Okay, so I think I have found some glitch here. So the subtotal is showing 2750. Okay, so let me see what's the problem here. Okay, so I have found what's the mistake here. So this total will be added to this total. Okay, so what we have to do is we have to use another variable. Okay, so simply set of float, let me say dot is equals to 0, and simply give the dot here and here. Now it will work, I guess. So let me run this. If I want to show all the invoices, now it is working, right? Now case 2 is also up. Now it's time for case 3, that is to show the invoice of the particular user. Okay, so for this also the most of the stuff is same as this. So let me see, simply copy this thing out. Okay, because it's almost same. So Ctrl C and Ctrl V to copy paste this. Here also we want to take the name of the customer first. Okay, to source the invoice, we want to first take the name of the customer of which we want to see the invoice. Okay, so let me simply print the message here, print f in the new line, enter the name of the customer, and as we are taking the string as an input, we have to again do this f get c stdin and use f get s. Okay, so first is for this, let me define the variable here. We haven't defined the variable for this, so we are going to use this char, and let me give the name 50. Okay, so here fget as we want to store it in the name, maximum size 50, and it's the standard input. The third input will be okay, that argument will be. Now again we want to do name strlen, so its name -1 will be equals to 0. Okay, so we have taken the name of the customer as the input. Okay, and now what we want to do is we want to show the bill only if the name of customer matches the name of the customer in the order. Okay, so we have to use the if statement here. Okay, so inside this while loop, so what we are going to do is we are going to compare if the name of the customer is equals to that the name of the customer in that order structure inside that file. Okay, so what we want to do is now we are going to use the standard function of the string that h header, that is strcmp. Okay, so we can if not strcmp, that is used to compare the two string. Okay, so this is used to compare whether the two strings are equal or not. Okay, so that is in the order dot customer and in the name. Okay, so what it does is if these two names are equal, then it will return 0. Okay, so to make it true, we simply have to put the exclamation in front of this statement. Okay, that is this line is returns true if the name of the customer matches the name of the customer in the that file. Okay, so if it is the case, then we want to simply generate this. Okay, so we want to generate this only if our condition is satisfied. Okay, then now also want to use another variable to track if the invoice is found or not. Okay, so simply use here that invoice found equals to 0, and if the invoice is found, that is in here, if the invoice is found, then we can simply use invoice found equals to 1. Okay, then after this what we want to do is if not invoice found. Okay, that is if the invoice is not found, then we want to print the message sorry, the invoice for person S, that is the name of the customer, does not exist. Okay, and the person S, that is in the name. Okay, and also here I want to show the invoice of. Okay, so the invoice of person S, that is of name. Yeah, so in this case we haven't taken any input by using a scanf above here. So this fget c is taking our first character, that is M. So let me remove this or comment out this, and now if I go ahead and run this, and let me choose the invoice 3, let me enter the name of the customer as Mr. Ram. Now it is showing me the invoice, right? So now let me give the horizontal tab here, and let me run this again. So let me search for the invoice, that is Mr. Let me say it's John. So yeah, it is showing me the invoice for John also. Okay, so before this let me remove this because it is giving taking an extra space here, I guess. So let me search for invoice Mr. Ram. Okay, now it is looking fine. Okay, now fourth case, that is case 4, is to exit from the program. Okay, 4. So what we simply going to do for case 4 is we want to print the exiting message. So as n, we give 2 horizontal tabs and give the message as bye bye, and yeah, so this, and we simply want to exit from the program, so simply write exit 0. So this will terminate the program and break. Okay, and if the user choose the option other than 1 to 4, then for the default case what we simply can do is we can simply print f as sorry invalid option. Okay, and we can simply break this thing also. Now let me run this, exit the program using F, then it is showing bye bye. Okay, so yeah, let me give 2 new line here so that this message will shift 2 lines down. Okay, our final step. Okay, so let me first press 5, so it is showing me sorry, invalid option. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to loop this thing, okay, until the user exit the program. Okay, so what we can do is we can define the another variable here, save bill, and we can say continue flag. Okay, so let me give the name as continue flag equals to y. Now, so what we want to do is we want to run this thing. Okay, so while this continue flag is equals to y, we want to perform this. Okay, so up to here. Okay, so while continue flag is equals to y, we want to print this. So at the end of this loop, what we can print is, do you want to perform another operation? Okay, and we have to simply scan this and place it in the count flag. And what we have to do is now we have to place this total inside this loop. Okay, and initialize it to 0, and also we have to use the invoice found flag, that is this invoice found flag inside while loop, inside here it's end and semicolon. So I have missed the ampersand here. Now let me run this. Yeah, now it has been removed. So if I go to generate the invoice, so let me say the name of the customer is Mario, and let me give the number of item as 1. Let me say I want burger, and enter the quantity, let me say 5 of it, 150 unit price. Okay, so it is generated an invoice to Mario, and the burger quantity 5, 750. Okay, now if I hit Y, so it is says successfully saved, and it is asking, do you want to perform another operation? So if I press Y, so it is again showing me another option. So let me say to show all the invoices. Now it is showing me all the previous invoices. Okay, so it's Mr. Ram, of Mr. Zone, and of the Mario. And if I again say Y, and it is saying, okay, so let me search the invoice 3 of Mario, and it is showing me the invoice of the Mario here, right? So if I again press Y, and if I press 4, then it is exiting the program, right? So now if I again run this and show all the invoices, and do you want to perform it, if I press N, then it is exiting from the program, right? And before exiting from the program, again let me print the bye bye message here. Okay, so copy and paste. Now if I run this, let me choose option 2, and okay, so it is showing a bye bye message and exiting the program, right? Now I notice one thing. If I again run this, and let me say show all invoice, and let's hit Y, so you can see that this gap is not maintaining, so it is a little bit of congested. So what I want to do is I want to clear this thing out if I choose to continue the operation. Okay, so let me go to the top and inside here, so in at the top of this while loop, let me say system and clear. Okay, now if I run this, okay, let me rerun this. If I choose to show invoice, yeah, it is showing me the invoices, and if I press Y, okay, so it has that cleared the screen out, right? So if I search for the invoice, let me say Mr. John, so it is showing me the invoice of Mr. John only. And if I again press Y, so it has again cleared the screen. Now if I press the 4, it is exiting the program. Okay, so this much it for this restaurant billing system. Hope you like this video. So if you like this video, please do like, share and subscribe ADV Learning.